Hey, and welcome to my channel, and a series that I'm making called Let Me Recommend, where I give you 3 films that I've seen recently or films that I want to speak about in that episode. This is my first video, so my suggestions are more for my family and friends rather than the rest of the internet. But if you do somehow see this video and like it, please share and subscribe. Let me recommend Mogul Mowgli. This is a movie about Zed, a young up-and-coming British rapper who is about to start his first world tour, but is then diagnosed with a crippling illness and is forced to move back in with his family. He tries to find himself between an international music career and Pakistani family traditions. Now that sounds like a lot, but this film clocks in at 89 minutes, making it a concise and beautiful package. And when I say beautiful, I don't just mean the story and the meaning behind it. But visually, I love this film, being shot entirely in 4:3, giving it a unique look while also connecting back clearly to the meaning of the film as Zed feels boxed in. He's trapped between many things such as Pakistani heritage and his rap persona. This film talks a lot about identity, about what defines you as a person. Is it family? Is it where you come from? Is it the people you surround yourself with? And what it's like to have part of your identity ripped away from you, as Zed can no longer perform due to his illness. We watch as Zed finds his roots, connects back with his family, and grow as a person. Riz Ahmed stars as Zed in this film, and does a phenomenal job. You can really feel the rawness of the performance. And yeah, of course people are going to bring up Sound of Metal, and in many ways this film is very similar to Sound of Metal, but is very different at the same time. It's much more chaotic than Sound of Metal. There are nightmare scenes with this reoccurring character which is supposed to represent Zed's confliction and identity crisis. Sound of Metal is much more about acceptance, while Mogul Mowgli is more about reconciliation and identity. This film really connected with me on a personal level, as someone going through a very similar thing. It allowed me to feel seen while at the same time as diving into the psyche of the character of Zed. I just think the theme of identity is woven in beautifully and is a really interesting discussion point, because as young people, we're still trying to carve out who we are and what defines us. And having the ability to express that identity taken away from us is a really heartbreaking and interesting thing. Zed, however, is no angel in the movie. He is a heavily flawed character with traits of narcissism and obsession. He even treats those around him more as tools rather than people, only reaching out when he needs something or wants something. Watching him then being broken down by this illness was then fascinating, and watching him reconnect with his family was beautiful. And yeah, go see this. It's available to stream for free on BBC iPlayer. Alright, so now let me recommend Beau is Afraid. This is Ari Aster's new film, coming hot off the heels of Hereditary and Midsommar, and is the story of Beau, a very paranoid and anxiety-ridden man who embarks on an epic odyssey to get home to his mother. Let me get this out of the way. This movie is fucking crazy, and you might love it, hate it, or even want to walk out of it. It is definitely my least favorite Ari Aster film, but please don't miss this one, because you will never see anything like this. It is nothing like his previous films, and I'm okay with that. I think I want to start by talking about why this film works for me, because I have almost as many flaws, but I definitely think the good outweighs the bad. This film is split into several chunks, and changes when there's a cut to black when Beau gets hurt. I think the first chunk of the film was my favourite though, and doesn't quite reach that level again. I like spending time in Beau's heightened, anxious world. It is a great portrait of extreme anxiety and is bolstered by fantastic production design, cinematography, and editing. This film is also funny, and it is best experienced with other people, friends, family, or even just a packed cinema. I saw this on opening night with a great crowd of people who were laughing along with the film. It was a great atmosphere and probably boosted my experience with this film. This movie just didn't need to be 3 hours. You really feel the runtime, and it drags at certain points. And it can feel a bit repetitive as awful thing after awful thing happens to Beau. He is more of a passive protagonist as things kind of just happen to him rather than him pushing the narrative forward. The film was starting to lose me as things were just kind of happening and it didn't seem to have much rhyme or reason, but then Bo returned home and you begin to see the themes and reasons for things happening. Dangerous attachment styles and generational trauma just being a taste of what this film has to say. I think it really comes together in the third act as the story begins to make sense and the anxious world of Bo becomes a little more understandable. I mean, this is a batshit crazy mess of a film, but embraces the mess and will be the most insane thing you will see all year, and for that alone I'm recommending Beau is Afraid. You might hate it, a lot of people do, but it is refreshing to have a movie that gives absolutely no fucks. So go see it in the cinema right now. Let me recommend Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Alright, so you know what the Guardians of the Galaxy is. I don't think it needs me to read the synopsis or give it an introduction. Originally, I wrote a whole video just for this film, but didn't love the script, so I wanted to include it here. I loved this movie, man. By far the best Marvel film in years, and if you don't see this just because it's a Marvel film, it is self-contained so anyone can enjoy this, so please do not see this just because it's Marvel. This is the most fun I've had watching a film in a long time, while also delivering a heartbreaking and soul-filled narrative. James Gunn gets it, man. The last Marvel film was the most soulless, machine-made cash grab, so it's really nice to have a movie that feels like it was made by a real human being. Characters are treated seriously while also being hilarious at the same time. No one backtracks a character arc just for a joke. Every character is treated with care, having character arcs which conclude beautifully. This is Rocket's movie and all of the stuff with him is great, but none of the other characters are sidelined, which I really appreciated. All of the technical elements for this film are great aside from the editing, which could have been a bit better. But the technical elements are really solid. This isn't just actors in front of a green screen for 2 hours. They used practical sets with real costumes and designs, which gives the film life and so much texture. The cinematography was really good, with some of the best filmed action scenes of the year, other than maybe John Wick. The movie opens with a fantastic tracking shot of Rocket as he walks around nowhere while Creep by Radiohead plays on top. The atmosphere of this film was just incredible and the soundtrack was amazing. Of course I was listening to it on the walk home. This film also felt like a fitting end. It felt like an end to the Guardians and their story, which is rare within the Marvel machine. So yeah, I thought this film was incredible. Check this out because it is one of the best superhero films that have come out recently. It will hit you like a ton of bricks while being the most entertaining thing you will see. So please, go see it in a cinema near you.